All right, we're here with the Boros list. I know I've played Boros recently, but saw this one over on Twitter and thought I'd give it a shot. I love seeing a really straightforward list, and this one seems to have condensed down a lot of power and some of the new cards into one list. So I'm going to show you some of these games, and hopefully it works out as well as it did earlier. I was playing at lunch and had a really good run with this deck. I don't remember the record exactly, but it got us all the way up to Diamond, so we're going to keep that rolling and see if we can repeat that here. Tell you a little bit about the deck. It does run 27 lands. The top of the mana curve in here is 5. In the original list, it was 4. The reason for that, I believe, is that a lot of these cards have kicker abilities that can make use of those extra lands. It's also super important that we curve out on time and actually get to 4 where we've got the Wandering Emperor and another card that I hope will show up here pretty soon. Now, Phyrexian Missionary, I originally thought this card was kind of like a sacrifice effect, but no, it's a Gravedigger, get something back from the graveyard effect with lifelink, and it's a 2/3. So it's not actually too bad to go ahead and play on 2, and then it's got some extra legs in the late game where we can get back some of our slightly better things. Jukai Naturalist, haven't seen that one in a while. I think this qualifies as a bolt the bird scenario. Don't really want them to get too far ahead, so we're going to go ahead and take care of that. Sundown Pass, and we'll end the turn. That way we can abrade something this turn if we need to, and then maybe go straight into the Wandering Emperor or the Fable. Okay, another Naturalist, that's fine. We will abrade that too. I see. Destroy Evil. This is another new addition I saw in this deck, and I love it. It takes care of Shieldred and big things that a deck with 2 and 3 drops might have trouble with. And Destroy Target Enchantment is like a choose one mode on there. So it's, at first I thought this was like a Valorous stance, but for a control deck. But it actually feels really good in here. We'll get in, we'll probably play Wandering Emperor at the end of this turn and start making tokens. So this is the top of the curve, Archangel of Wrath. You can kick it with black or red or both, and it does 2 damage to anything for each time you kicked it. So I think that's another reason why there's so many lands in this deck. Going to plus our tokens, we can continue to get in. Would love to be able to wait for 1 more mana on this, and I'm not too concerned about the Visitor getting large because we can then destroy evil on it. There's something like 3 or 4 copies of Destroy Evil in here, so we could also use a future one that we draw to get rid of the Circle of Confinement. Or possibly the Citizen's Arrest, we'll see. Let's see. I kind of like everything we've got going on here. We'll see if they want to trade away their Visitor. They do not. All right, we'll keep making tokens. Another Circle of Confinement. That puts the Visitor into Destroy Evil range. Would love to draw 1 more land for the eventual usage of this, what is it, Reflection. Yeah, one more, and we can lay the Archangel next turn and just attack with a copy of it if we want to. Whoops, I choose the wrong mode? Yep, there it is. That's the one. All right. Thankfully dodged a Tamio's safekeeping. We'll be able to keep Abrade up for a small creature this turn. Another Citizen's Arrest. Exiles our Reflection. Okay. I'm gonna attack first. We're gonna do double kicker on this Archangel of Wrath. All right, a 5/5 lifelinky Catilda. We're just going to try to finish this off now. All right, no instance from our opponent means that's likely going to work, and we'll go from there. Yeah, so you can see it's just a lot packed into one deck. Let me show you the list real quick. Yeah, so I found this on Twitter. There's a user on there by the name of Schlop on Twitter, and I'll try to post that below. But at any rate, they post really interesting deck lists from time to time, and they do have kind of a competitive angle on the stuff that they post. So I just love following them. They're great. But really wanted to show you a game with this because I had a blast with it, and I think you might enjoy it too if you enjoy some of my videos. So you can see we've got the 27 lands over here, some Jetmir's Gardens. I think that's just to cycle away late game if you draw too many lands. But like I said, you do kind of want to aim for ending up right around 5 or 6 mana so that you can Archangel of Wrath and kick it twice. You can get there through creating treasure tokens with some of your Fable tokens, or you can get there just through drawing your lands. But I never really had any trouble with lands, and I might have to start just like aiming closer to 27 in a lot more of my decks. I think if I had this mana curve in my deck, I'd probably shoot for 24. Anyway, the lands are probably the least interesting part about this. I threw in a Urabrask Heretic Praetor. I was missing another copy of Archangel of Wrath and just wanted to get this going. So I've been wanting to try this tech to sort of take aim at Shieldred a little bit and kind of nullify some of the decks that like to draw extra cards and gain a bunch of life. So at least keep them a little bit limited in the cards that they draw and the life that they can gain at one time. Plus he's hasty and, I haven't tried him out. But probably the best part of this deck is the Wandering Emperor and the Archangel of Wrath. This is a solid body. It's got flying and lifelink on its own, and kicking it just even once is really useful. And then a lot of times what ends up happening is that because you've been setting up your earlier turns with a Wedding Announcement or a Fable of the Mirror Breaker, by the time the Archangel comes down, you've usually got the flip side of Fable going. You've got the Reflection of Kiki Jiki side either going or about to be ready to fire. And then you can just make a couple of angels in the air, and that's another 6 damage. It could be even more with a token from the Emperor. So it's just a really solid way to finish off games kind of hastily and give you a little cushion of life against some of these really attrition-based decks that just kind of get your life total down fast. So it was a lot of fun. So yeah, we've got Wedding Announcement, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, 4 copies of Destroy Evil, which is really flexible. Like I said, at first I thought it was kind of control-based, but it was really nice to have that flexibility in here, and especially in Best of 1, you kind of need that sometimes. Phyrexian Missionary punched a little bit above its weight class. I wasn't too sure about it in here, but it ended up working out pretty well, getting us some late game value and just recurring some of our good threats. 4 copies of Abrade is good against a lot of creatures right now, and it helped out against some Rakdos artifact lists. And then Riveteers Requisitioner. I've seen some people talking about this card too. It's good on 2 and it can pressure a control deck really quickly, but it's also great for its blitz ability in that you can come back and use it kind of like a 3 damage sorcery late in the game. So I really like that one. Plus, just getting it to ramp, like having it be a sacrificial lamb, having somebody cut it down on turn 2, lets us ramp towards our Angel and Wandering Emperor a little bit faster. So, I'm good either way. You can let it live and I'll attack you, or it can die and we can ramp towards our better stuff. And then finally, 2 Flame Blessed Bolt. This is great against a lot of the creatures that we want to be taking care of, namely Tenacious Underdog, which usually its role, it comes down on turn 2, and then it just kind of brick walls everything, because usually its controller doesn't care if it dies. In fact, they kind of want it in the graveyard. Well, this is a great way to answer that, and I'm going to throw this in some more decks too. So at any rate, check this out. I'll put a link to the deck list below. You can try it out if you want to, and definitely go and check out that Twitter user I mentioned. And yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.